A Transgression by Anton Pavlovich Chekhov. A collegiate assessor called Migev stopped at a telegraph post in the course of his evening walk, and heaved a deep sigh a week before, as he was returning home from his evening walk. He had been overtaken at that very spot by his former housemaid Agnia, who said to him viciously, "Wait a bit, ill cook you such a crab that'll teach you to ruin innocent girls, ill leave the baby at your door, and ill have the law of you, and ill tell your wife too." And she demanded that he should put 5,000 rubles into the bank in her name. Migev remembered it, heaved a sigh, and once more reproached himself with heartfelt repentance for the momentary infatuation which had caused him so much worry and misery. When he reached his bungalow, he sat down to rest on the doorstep. It was just 10 o'clock, and a bit of the moon peeped out from behind the clouds. There was not a soul in the street, nor near the bungalow's. Elderly summer visitors were already going to bed, while young ones were walking in the wood, feeling in both his pockets for a match to light his cigarette. Migev brought his elbow into contact with something soft. He looked idly at his right elbow, and his face was instantly contorted by a look of as much horror as though he had seen a snake beside him on the step at the very door. Lay a bundle, something oblong in shape, was wrapped up in something, judging by the feel of it. A wadded quilt. One end of the bundle was a little open, and the collegiate assessor, putting in his hand, felt something damp and warm. He leaped on to his feet in horror, and looked about him like a criminal trying to escape from his warders. "She has left it," he muttered wrathfully through his teeth, clenching his fists. "Here it lies, here lies my transgression, O Lord." He was numb with terror, anger, and shame. What was he to do now? What would his wife say? If she found out, what would his colleagues at the office say? His Excellency would be sure to dig him in the ribs, guffaw, and say, "I congratulate you, hehe. Though your beard is grey, your heart is gay. You are a rogue, Semyon Erastovich." The whole colony of summer visitors would know his secret now, and probably the respectable mothers of families would shut their doors to him. Such incidents always get into the papers, and the humble name of Migev would be published all over Russia. The middle window of the bungalow was open, and he could distinctly hear his wife Anna Filipovna laying the table for supper in the yard close to the gate. Yermolay, the porter, was plaintively strumming on the balalaika. The baby had only to wake up and begin to cry, and the secret would be discovered. Migev was conscious of an overwhelming desire to make haste. "Haste, haste," he muttered, "this minute, before anyone sees. Ill carry it away, and lay it on somebody's doorstep." Migev took the bundle in one hand, and quietly, with a deliberate step, to avoid awakening suspicion, went down the street. A wonderfully nasty position, he reflected, trying to assume an air of unconcern. A collegiate assessor, walking down the street with a baby. Good heavens, if anyone sees me, and understands the position, I am done for. I'd better put it on this doorstep. No, stay, the windows are open, and perhaps someone is looking. Where shall I put it? I know, I'll take it to the merchant Myelkin's. Merchants are rich people, and tender-hearted. Very likely they will say thank you, and adopt it. And Migev made up his mind to take the baby to Myelkin's, although the merchant's villa was in the furthest street close to the river. "If only it does not begin screaming or wriggle out of the bundle," thought the collegiate assessor. "This is indeed a pleasant surprise. Here I am carrying a human being under my arm, as though it were a portfolio, a human being alive, with soul, with feelings like anyone else. If by good luck the Myelkins adopt him, he may turn out somebody. Maybe he will become a professor, a great general, an author. Anything may happen now. I am carrying him under my arm like a bundle of rubbish, and perhaps in 30 or 40 years I may not dare to sit down in his presence." As Migev was walking along a narrow, deserted alley beside a long row of fences in the thick black shade of the lime trees, it suddenly struck him that he was doing something very cruel and criminal. "How mean it is, really," he thought, "so mean that one can't imagine anything meaner. Why are we shifting this poor baby from door to door? It's not its fault that it's been born. It's done us no harm. We are scoundrels. We take our pleasure, and the innocent babies have to pay the penalty. Only to think of all this wretched business I've done wrong, and the child has a cruel fate before it. If I lay it at Myelkin's door, they'll send it to the foundling hospital, and there it will grow up among strangers in mechanical routine. No love, no petting, no spoiling, and then hell be apprenticed to a shoemaker. Hell take to drink, will learn to use filthy language, will go hungry a shoemaker. And he, the son of a collegiate assessor of good family, he is my flesh and blood." Migev came out of the shade of the lime trees into the bright moonlight of the open road, and opening the bundle he looked at the baby. "Asleep," he murmured, "you little rascal. Why, you've an aquiline nose like your father's. He sleeps, and doesn't feel that it's his own father looking at him. It's a drama, my boy. Well, well, You must forgive me, old boy, it seems it's your fate. The collegiate assessor blinked and felt a spasm running down his cheeks. He wrapped up the baby, put him under his arm, and strode on. All the way to the Mylkins' villa, social questions were swarming in his brain, and conscience was gnawing in his bosom. If I were a decent, honest man, he thought, I should damn everything, go with this baby to Anna Filipovna, fall on my knees before her, and say, forgive me, I have sinned, torture me, but we won't ruin an innocent child. We have no children, let us adopt him, she's a good sort, shed consent, and then my child would be with me. He reached the Mylkins' villa, and stood still, hesitating. He imagined himself in the parlour at home, sitting reading the paper, while a little boy with an aquiline nose played with the tassels of his dressing gown at the same time. Visions forced themselves on his brain of his winking colleagues, and of His Excellency digging him in the ribs and guffawing. Besides the pricking of his conscience, there was something warm, sad, and tender in his heart. Cautiously the collegiate assessor laid the baby on the veranda step, and waved his hand again. He felt a spasm run over his face. Forgive me, old fellow, I am a scoundrel, he muttered, don't remember evil against me. He stepped back, but immediately cleared his throat resolutely and said, Oh come, what will damn it all, ill take him, and let people say what they like. Migev took the baby and strode rapidly back. Let them say what they like, he thought, ill go at once, fall on my knees, and say, Anna Filipovna, Anna is a good sort, shall understand, and well bring him up. If it's a boy, well call him Vladimir, and if it's a girl, well call her Anna anyway, it will be a comfort in our old age. And he did as he determined, weeping and almost faint with shame and terror, full of hope and vague rapture. He went into his bungalow, went up to his wife, and fell on his knees before Anna Filipovna, he said with a sob, and he laid the baby on the floor. Hear me before you punish, I have sinned, this is my child, you remember Agnia, well, it was the devil drove me to it. And almost unconscious with shame and terror, he jumped up without waiting for an answer, and ran out into the open air as though he had received a thrashing. I'll stay here outside, till she calls me, he thought, I'll give her time to recover, and to think it over. The porter Yermolay passed him with his balalaika, glanced at him, and shrugged his shoulders. A minute later, he passed him again, and again he shrugged his shoulders. Here's a go, did you ever, he muttered, grinning. Aksinya, the washerwoman, was here just now. Semyon Erastovich, the silly woman, put her baby down on the steps here, and while she was indoors with me, someone took and carried off the baby. Who'd have thought it? What are you saying? Shouted Migev at the top of his voice. Yermolay, interpreting his master's wrath in his own fashion, scratched his head and heaved a sigh. I am sorry, Semyon Erastovich, he said, but it's the summer holidays, one can't get on without a woman, I mean. And glancing at his master's eyes glaring at him with anger and astonishment, he cleared his throat guiltily and went on. It's a sin, of course, but there, what is one to do? You've forbidden us to have strangers in the house, I know, but we've none of our own now. When Agnia was here I had no women to see me, for I had one at home. But now you can see for yourself, sir, one can't help having strangers in Agnia's time. Of course, there was nothing irregular because... Be off, you scoundrel, Migev shouted at him, stamping, and he went back into the room. Anna Filipovna, amazed and wrathful, was sitting as before, her tear-stained eyes fixed on the baby. There, Migev muttered with a pale face, twisting his lips into a smile. It was a joke, it's not my baby, it's the washerwoman's. Roman 1, I was joking, take it to the porter.